Become a wealth creator today. Text VISIT to 800-454-1184 to schedule your 15-minute call with Eric and his team. That's VISIT to 800-454-1184.
No matter what your retirement plan looks like, if you're like most people, it's very likely that Social Security will be a very important part of it. But how confident are you about the Social Security program going into retirement? Welcome to Wealth Creator Radio with Eric Heckman. He's going to share with us what he thinks about the future of Social Security and give us strategies for you to consider when you're trying to fit this benefit into your overall retirement plan. Let's get going with this phone number. You'll want this. Eric is a certified financial planner. He would love to guide you about any questions you have about retirement. 800-454-1184. You may call or text the word VISIT to that number. Okay, it's complimentary to set up an appointment to go in and see Eric. 800-454-1184. And he and his team have worked really hard on something called a toolbox. And this, of course, is a toolbox full of materials for retirement. Includes Eric's book, The Blueprint to Worryless Wealth, other educational materials as well. So again, you can text the word toolbox to 800-454-1184. Remember to check out our podcast too. Every Tuesday morning, we're going to have our entire latest show posted at about 9 a.m. Okay, so if you missed part of our show, then you're going to want to listen to past episodes. You can do that. Just go to anywhere you listen to a podcast. Every Tuesday morning, search for Wealth Creator Radio. You can also go to YouTube. And Eric, with all of that, hello to you, my friend.
Yeah, Luann, it's kind of a critical time, actually. I know we're going to be talking about Social Security, but, before we go there, we've got a kind of a monster shift in the economy happening, which we don't have too often. And so, we've all been riding this nice wave of high interest rates, which has been great for savings accounts and people putting money away for retirement. Not so great for people getting a mortgage or, credit cards and other things. So, that shift is starting to happen. And why do I bring it up? Well, if you're 50, 55, 60 plus, and you're trying to live off that interest, trying to protect some of that money from market downturns or craziness post-election or, anything that might happen, there's some great options out there to protect your money and guarantee it's safe. I mean, stuff that right now you can get up to double digits. But if you went back to about 5 years ago, which is where people think interest rates are kind of headed, those maximums were in the 5 to 6 range. So literally rates, earning abilities doubled, I guess is the best way to put that in the last 5 years. And, we're starting to head back the other direction. So this is a super, super critical time to kind of take action if you want to, protect some of that money, have some great long-term savings, have some great money that's going to be there earning some good interest before you kind of go, oh man, I wish I'd locked in at the top there. This is kind of like when people said, oh, I wish I had that 2.5% mortgage and they're complaining about a 3. Well, the 3 is still in hindsight pretty dang good. So even if it's starting to change a little bit, pretty dang good, still a good thing, right?
Exactly.
so yeah, it's time to take action on that. So, again, if that's something you want to get some information on, that is not something you want to take a lot of time to research or, think about or contemplate. You do really want to, jump on a call and with that, because like I said, these rates they started changing last month and they're going to do nothing but keep going down from here on out. So, if you want to set up a time to talk, all you have to do is text the word VISIT 800-454-1184. Again, text the word VISIT 800-454-1184 or book directly online at wealthcreatorradio.com.
That's right. Lock it in now before they go down any farther. But thank you so much for joining us. This is Wealth Creator Radio with Eric Heckman of Heckman Financial. Eric, let's start with this recent poll that shows that Americans are pessimistic that their Social Security benefits are going to be there in retirement. What do you want to tell us about that?
Well, I mean, it's all accurate in terms of that there's going to be some issues. They've been always around the 2035, sometimes been 2034, sometimes 2036 is when they've been saying that, and this percentage has been changing too, that they'll only be able to pay 70, 80, it's kind of been around 80% for a while now. But they update those numbers every year, and every year we get closer and closer and closer, and Congress does nothing and nothing and nothing. There's going to be some issue at some point. Now we're always going to have Social Security, but back in the 80s, they said, "Oh, we're just going to tax it for some people." In the 90s, okay, we're just going to tax it for some more people. So we know kind of what's going to be the result. Yes, it'll still be there, but probably get taxed more. There'll probably be more changes in terms of, when can you get it and stuff like that. But it's not super crisis yet, but it's getting pretty dang close now to being a crisis. I mean, they've known this, number has not changed for almost 10 years now. So, and yet they've done nothing about it. So it is one of those things that there will be something, but you better not try to depend on that in your retirement, because that would be super scary.
Right. Okay. So on this survey, did it find anything about how well most Americans understand Social Security, Eric?
No, I mean, it said more than half of them don't even understand what's going on. And, a third of them didn't even know exactly when you get the benefits. Now, they did change that a while back. And so pretty much for anybody born 1960, just say 67 is the number. You can technically get it at 62, but if you work and you're trying to get your Social Security, which means you're retired and working at the same time, that's not really supposed to be a thing. Mm-hmm. They'll actually take back a lot, if not all of your Social Security. So typically, if you want to be working and turning this money on, you just think 67. 70 is still the oldest age where, you want to turn it on at 70 no matter what. So I've got some clients that still love their job, still enjoying working and making money, but they get their Social Security now, and it's odd because they also pay into it. And so, but yeah. And by the way, Social Security is your highest 35 years of work. So every year really matters.
Highest 35 years of work. Okay.
Yeah, that's a long time.
That is a long time. Yeah. So today we're discussing Social Security, and it is a really important retirement benefit. It's part of your income in retirement. In your opinion, Eric, in your own opinion, aside from this survey, is there a reason to be concerned about the future of it?
Well, I mean, they plainly state that they're not going to be able to pay 80% of their bills. I mean, that's kind of like you going to your mortgage company and asking, is it okay if I just pay 80% of my mortgage this month? And I know their answer. No.
Right? Exactly. Yeah.
So there is some definite issue. And, it's also still a huge benefit, by the way. I mean, we should kind of start there, really, because lots of times, I remember years ago, I met with this one guy. He goes, I don't even count Social Security. And then we looked at his benefits, and I'm like, did you know you're on track for $60,000 a year between you and your wife right now? I'm like, you know how much money you'd have to have in the bank to put that money,
Wow.
That's like $500,000 in the bank, or more than that, really. And so it is still a huge benefit. So don't get us wrong there. And I think for the people that are, who unfortunately didn't save and didn't have a great career and don't have much money, there's going to still be okay for them, because there'll still be something there. It was supposed to be the safety net, right?
Yeah.
But I think for a lot of the other people, it's going to get taxed more. It's going to be taken away more. So again, this is where you have to have your own personalized income plan to really figure out where's the money going to come from. If I have a gap that gets bigger from Social Security, then where else can I draw that from? Do I have enough assets? What's the taxes on those assets? Are those investments getting shifted into income producing items as you get closer to retirement, or are they still at growth mode? Because, you can't just wait for that check to come, the market to come back to get that month's check. No, you got to get it that month. So, again, so one of the things we've set up in our digital toolbox is a lot of great things. Well, will my money last as long as I do? We actually have a thing called Social Security timing decision. Some great information that's a quick download, quick reads, pretty jargon free. So, if you want that, or even set a time to set up a time to talk with me, all you have to do is text the word toolbox to 800-454-1184. Again, text the word toolbox, 800-454-1184, or download directly at wealthcreatorradio.com.
All right, Eric and Wealth Creator Radio. We'll be right back with more.
Do you know whether your retirement plan has any weak points? Discover ways on giving your financial future the proper tune-up. Simply go online to wealthcreatortoolbox.com to gain a better understanding in taxes, Social Security, and other ways to manage your portfolio.
And that's how it's done.
That's wealthcreatortoolbox.com.
Hi, I'm Lou Ann Fulmer. Thank you so much for joining us today. For years, annuities have gotten a bum rap. I feel like if I say that word, everybody kind of cringes, there are a lot of strings attached. People are scared because your money is locked up for a certain amount of time. And I think everybody's heard all the cons about annuities for years. With all the company pensions dying out, though, the tide is starting to turn. And Eric, annuity sales have had record years recently. So tell us about maybe why you think there's a reason behind the increased interest in annuities, please.
Yeah, well, some of the funniest things that I just hear about annuities is like there's a certain, we'll just call them a fishing company, maybe. I won't use their real name, but they always say, I hate annuities and you should too. And well, let's see. What are the two biggest forms of annuities? Well, one's a thing called Social Security. I've never really met anybody who hates their Social Security check that they get every month.
Right.
Never met that person. And, then the other one is a pension, like a government pension or teacher's pension. Never heard anybody who hates getting that check every month. So I can't believe any sort of financial firm would ever say, I hate annuities. And two of the biggest annuities are the biggest ways that some people, get, or a lot of people, live in retirement, right?
Yeah.
So, but there's also been a lot more financial data now of actual academic studies. There's a guy named Wade Pfau, and you will never spell his last name correct.
Oh, yeah?
It's P-F-A-U.
Oh, okay. Wow.
But he's done some research in just like withdrawal rates and all these kind of geeky kind of, academic studies. But a lot of it has come back where, if you don't have some money guaranteed for life, that's going to always be there with the people living so much longer and longer that, you may be hard pressed to have a, very successful retirement. So that's, I think, what's starting to really make people realize that, I actually do need to have something that I can't mess up, something that's going to keep coming in, and something that will be there even if, I make it into my 90s and such, because I've got a lot of clients actually in their 70s that have their parents still living.
Wow.
And so I think that's probably one of the biggest reasons why people are starting to realize that, actually I do need to have some protection. And the flip side of all this is now rates have gotten so much better and gone up so much. So now this is something that, there are a lot more options. There are a lot of great things out there, and, people really should be paying attention to all the products out there.
Exactly. Because you're talking income for your retirement, and you have to pull from different places throughout your years that you're retired. So why don't you talk about the difference between what's considered protected income, like a pension or an annuity, and then, maybe money, that non-guaranteed income?
So, there's a couple of different basic types of annuities. There's ones that are more like a CD at the bank kind of thing, where those just earn a fixed rate. Those aren't really designed for income per se, right? They're just, you're going to get so much interest. There's ones that are variable. Now, those are the ones with all the fees and costs, and those are typically the ones as a fiduciary standard of care financial advisor I can pretty much almost never recommend. But those are the ones that are in the market and such. And those ones can have some guarantees on them, but because of they're so volatile and there's so much fees, it's pretty tough guarantees. And then there's the index kind. These are ones where the principal is protected, but they earn a rate based on like an S&P 500 or some sort of index out there. So what you can do is you can just have a normal accumulation one, where accumulation one would be just like any other investment account that you have, just like your IRA or your 401k. It's going to have a balance. It's going to change over time, right? But you don't necessarily know exactly how much money you're going to make. And so, that's one where you can take out money, you can withdraw. Now, the nice thing is if it's an index kind, you'll never lose the principal. Mm-hmm. So at least you don't have that risk of that bad year eating up all your money.
Right.
But it doesn't per se have a set amount that you can get for the rest of your life. Now, if you want to add that, usually there's a fee or a cost to have some sort of set guarantee where it says, okay, from here on out, you're going to get, if you start at this age or you start at this age, this is how much you're going to get for the rest of your life. The cool thing about those, actually, even though most people are funding these with their individual retirement accounts, you can actually have a joint payout. So if you're married, you can actually have a joint payout on an individual retirement account. So, which makes it a lot more attractive to people. Now, even in California, there's been finally some of these that are getting approved where you can also have that income double if you need long-term care. So if you end up needing home care or nursing home care, whatever type of care, but as long as you qualify, which is usually can't do two activities of daily living. If they were paying you $20,000 a year, now they'll pay you $40,000 for up to 5 years.
Goodness,
And
that's awesome. Yeah.
So it's obviously not going to pay for all the care, but it's going to help you out a lot.
Big time.
And then, of course, that when you have those guarantees, those monies don't run out. So even if you run out of money in the account, the insurance portion of this says that, okay, if the money's all gone, you keep getting that check, even though there's nothing left in the account. So, that's where people kind of really like it, right? Because if you know you're going to have so much money there, it can't go away, then at least there's some portion that will be there forever to pay your fixed expenses and along with Social Security, and most likely not a pension, right? So this is a way to kind of buy your own pension.
So, Eric, talk about the challenges, though. If someone's retirement income is just maybe money and they don't have something more predictable like an annuity.
Yeah, well, that's called a,
hope and a prayer.
Yeah, hope and a prayer, right? Yeah, let's try it. Let's hope this all works. Maybe this works, and if not, what happens? There's a huge fear, especially among women, of people ending up on the streets and not having enough money to live. And so again, that's why we've actually created that blueprint to worry less wealth, where we have an income plan to see if that money will last. But then you also have to look at the investments and, what is that risk level? Are those investments guaranteed? Are those foundational where they're in a bad year, they're going to still have money there? Are they paying a lot of dividends and steady income out? A lot of market money doesn't pay much income. So you're having to sell shares every month. And that's where that whole hope and maybe money comes in. And, maybe is not the best thing to have everything banked in. You want to have some stuff that you're not having to hope and you're not having to to pray that it lasts type of thing. So again, that's why you want to have a plan. You want to have that income plan. You want to have that, investments, taxes, healthcare, legacy plan, all wrapped into one. And then if you can get some of these other benefits to help you in stuff like, long-term care, which would be part of the healthcare part, and also give you income, well, obviously that's that's even better, right? So it just makes life easier. So again, what we've set up is a lot of great resources of, will your money last as long as you do? Are you paying too much taxes in retirement? Social Security decision, all these things really kind of affect, should you or should you not have an annuity in your plan? And all you have to do is text the word toolbox to 800-454-1184. Again, if you want to get great access to all this info, just text the word toolbox, 800-454-1184, or download directly at wealthcreatorradio.com.
And you are listening to Wealth Creator Radio with Eric Heckman. I'm Luann Fulmer. We're talking today about annuities, all about annuities, and hoping you understand them and aren't afraid of them. They are just another tool that you can use for your income in retirement. Eric, how do we find that right balance between protecting our income and yet growing it as well?
Yeah, well, if you've got, 10 or 20 million, you could probably just put it all in stuff guaranteed and you'll be fine, right? But in case you don't, like most of us, you still want to have some money growing, but you want to have a balance. So I'm a big believer in having so much money in foundational money. That's stuff that's guaranteed by either insurance company, the bank, U.S. Treasury, something like that. That's where annuities would come into play. Having some steady income stuff pays dividends and cash flow, and then have your market money. But most people are all focused on the market money because your 401k has to be 100% market money. And so this is what you should be doing with your other money is diversifying it out, having some foundational money that's going to always be there. sometimes it can have some great tax effects too. Because, I was talking to somebody who had sold a piece of property and they had $500,000 that they were just sitting in a bank account earning interest. Well, I said, if you move that to tax deferred annuity, let's just pretend it's the same rate. Normally it's about 0.5% to 1% higher, but even at the same rate, over the next 20 years, that was going to save them almost $200,000 in taxes by moving it to this account, because they're going to probably not need this money. Now it's tax deferred. So now they're getting tax benefits. So it's not only about just income or protection. It also can be about taxes. And so, again, you got to look at this in an overall planning situation. The problem is people say, oh, should I do this product or should I do this product? And then they get bad advice because it's only about that product, right? And so if you do it as part of an overall plan, then you know where things fit in. But without that plan, it just doesn't work. So, again, if you want to get a lot more information, all you got to do is text the word toolbox 800-454-1184. Again, text the word toolbox 800-454-1184 or download directly at wealthcreatorradio.com.
We'll continue our conversation about today's annuities because they're a world away from the ones your grandparents had. We'll be right back with Wealth Creator Radio and Eric Heckman.
Be sure to like and subscribe to Wealth Creator Radio so you can stay up to date on ways to build your wealth and create a retirement you and your family will enjoy for years to come. Like and subscribe today and create your wealth for tomorrow with Wealth Creator Radio.
Hi, I'm Luann Fulmer here with Eric Heckman, president at Heckman Financial, where their mission is to get you to and through a worry-less wealth retirement. An annuity may or may not be right for you, right? Okay, but one thing's for certain, today's annuities are a world away from the ones that your grandparents had. Eric, talk about how much has changed with the income tools that we have today for our income.
Yeah, well, there's two big things that's happened in the basically last 2 decades here. Is one is the fixed indexed annuities weren't even around, so that's one thing that's newer. These are ones where the principal's protected, but it earn rates based on an outside index like S&P 500. So that's a great option because it gives you a little bit more earnings potential without taking any additional principal risk. And then, the income for life features have been huge. And those, again, have been around almost the same timeline, about 20 years now. And I've got a lot of clients that they just keep getting that check and they know that check's going to keep coming in for the rest of their life. And, it does give you a lot more peace of mind, gives you a lot more, relaxation time and, enjoyment of life, I guess would be probably maybe the best way to say it. Of once you've got so much money coming in the door every single month without fail. And so, that's one of the best things that's been, that I've been using for, 10 or 15 years now with clients, but now a lot of them are actually have turned those on and they're getting that cash flow. And it's great because they just love it. It's just like keeps coming in. And every once in a while, some of them actually even complain because it's like, wow, I keep getting so much income. I'm paying taxes on it. It's like, I'd much rather you have a tax problem than a no money problem.
No money. Yeah.
Yep. So I'll take that. That's fine.
Yeah. And you can help them too with the tax strategies, figure out, which to do and all that. Yeah. So, all right. There are a lot of different annuities out there. You already kind of went over those earlier, but can you just go over the kinds of annuities again that are available?
Yeah, well, I usually like to start off with there's two main types. One is immediate and one's deferred. So immediate, easiest one to think about there is Social Security. Once you get to whatever age you want to turn that on, if it's 65, 67, it's full retirement age for most people. You can go as early as 62, as late as 70, right? But once you turn that on, that income's going to keep coming in every single month for as long as you're around. And the second you're gone, that money's gone.
Oh, okay.
And so you can do that with your own money. You can actually, I had a client who was in his 80s and he didn't have any beneficiaries or anything. So he just kept rolling the dice and buying more immediate annuities. And, the break even was about 7 years. So all he had to do is live 7 years and he would get all his money back. Yeah. And then if he made it a couple of years past that, it could be up to 50, 60% return because because how much money it was paid out. And he did unfortunately pass away, but he, during that time frame, his first few that he did whatever you want to call it, break the bank or, beat the insurance company on. Two of them, I don't think he did, but again, he just had that cash flow coming in. Most people don't like it just because of once you say you give $100,000 and you get whatever a monthly income, that money's gone when you're gone. So most people don't like that because they want to leave something behind.
Mm-hmm.
So deferred annuities come in three types. So the most easiest one, the ones that have been around for 150 years, is really just a fixed one. So this is a fixed one. Just think of a CD kind of style. It typically, the most popular time frames, usually 5 years. So if it pays you 5% for 5 years, pretty easy math, right? You know how much you're going to get. It is tax deferred. So if you're using normal money, you're not going to pay tax on it. No 1099 at the end of the year, which is nice. And until you finally withdraw that money, and you can keep rolling it over tax free even. You can obviously do this in an IRA, then it's already tax deferred. But so those are just for good earnings. Then the variable annuities came out, and the variable annuities said, you can go and invest in the stock market. Well, problem with those is usually those mutual funds they use are not very cheap ones. They have very high expenses. The insurance company will typically charge you a 1 to 1.5%, mortality and expense fee, which is just a fancy way of just saying a fee.
Okay.
and then they sometimes will add income guarantees for life, and then that's another fee. So when you think you're going to be making a lot of money on these, well, if you have 3 to 5, my personal record I've ever seen is 5% total fees in one of these annually. And there's no way that count can do that great, right? Not with that kind of, it's like driving with your emergency brake on. You might be able to move the car, but it's not going to go very fast.
No.
Right? So that's one of the big problems with those. Those are the ones that I usually find as a fiduciary standard of care. I can not usually find very great reasons to recommend those.
Okay.
So watch out when you hear somebody talk about variable annuities. All the negative press that you hear about annuities, pretty much always those.
Okay.
But again, the fixed index, those are ones that came out after that. And they said, well, how do we have you earn more than just what the insurance company will pay you, but not take on that additional principal risk? And so these are the ones, again, that your principal is guaranteed, but instead of the insurance company say you get 5%, they'll say, okay, you get, so much percentage of the S&P 500 index or so much up to a certain maximum. And so, of course, some of those years you can get really great returns. Some of those years will be a zero. That's when the market goes down. But
right.
You also, zero is kind of your hero then, right?
Yes, right.
You didn't lose anything. So that's one of the reasons why you want to, really get a little bit more info, really find out what should you be doing. And again, that really should be part of an overall plan. So one of the things that we have done is we've set up a lot of great stuff. Will your money last as long as you do? Are you paying too much taxes in retirement? Lots of great info, all sitting there in our digital toolbox. You can get access by just texting the word toolbox to 800-454-1184. Again, text the word toolbox, 800-454-1184, or download directly at wealthcreatorradio.com.
Yeah. Remember, this is all complimentary. It also includes Eric's book that he wrote, Worry Less Wealth. You can get that as well. So make sure you take advantage of that. And thanks so much for joining us. This is Wealth Creator Radio with Eric Heckman. I'm Luann Fulmer. Eric, you talked about fees, and they are a big concern for people. Tell us more what we need to know about the fees that go with an annuity.
Yeah, so two of the biggest concerns with annuities are typically fees and access, liquidity. So fees I always think it's kind of funny when people talk about fees, because if you have a fixed annuity or fixed index annuity, typically there are no fees, no annual fees at all. And people say, oh, they have such high fees. And like, well, really? Because there is no fee. Now, there is a surrender fee. So if you say, I want all my money back out of this, and it's before the time limit's up, yeah, they will typically hit you with some decent sized fees on that. But you know that before you go in. Now, most of them allow you to take out 10% a year of your balance. Now, if you go to a bank, they typically don't let you take out 10% of your CD without a fee. So in some respects, they have more liquidity than bank CDs do. Now, there are fees in some annuities. The variable annuities, like I mentioned before, those could be really, really high. The fixed index don't typically do it unless you have an added guarantee of an income for life feature. once you do that, that's going to usually be about 1% to 2%. And that's going to eat up some of your principal for sure. But typically the reason you do that is you want to have that money for the rest of your life. So you're not really caring about leaving a ton of principal behind. Yes, if you pass away early on, as it's being paid out, whatever balance is in there, you never annuitize these ones. You never turn it into an immediate annuity. You just withdraw money. So the principal is still there, but there's going to be less there because of that. But of course, also, if you make it to your 90s, you're guaranteed there will be nothing left because you're just living on the insurance company's money. So that means you won.
Yes.
so not a bad thing.
Okay. And then real quick, if you already own an annuity, are you locked in it or can you make changes?
Well, what we've seen is when interest rates do massive swings, sometimes it makes sense to actually pay a fee to get out because some of these companies will give you a bonus to move it. And so sometimes it might make sense to get out of a one, even if there is still a fee. Again, you have to look at the benefits. You have to look at the pros and cons. But we've seen a lot of times where it does make sense because of there's been a massive shift. Now, if you also have a lot of it guaranteed income, then maybe it doesn't. Sometimes it makes sense just to turn on the income earlier than planned, just so that way you start getting the money sooner, right? And let your market money bounce around and keep growing. So again, this all takes planning. This all takes some education. And so that's, again, why we've set up all this great stuff in our Wealth Creator Toolbox. Will your money last as long as you do? Are you paying too much in taxes, retirement? All that great reports are up there and all easy for you to download by just texting the word toolbox to 800-454-1184. Again, text the word toolbox 800-454-1184 or download directly at wealthcreatorradio.com.
All right. More good stuff to cover when we come back with Eric Heckman. This is Wealth Creator Radio. We'll be right back.
Imagine your first day of retirement. What do you see? Let's turn that vision into reality. The first step, get Eric Heckman's Wealth Creator Toolbox. In it, you'll get information on some of the biggest challenges you'll face in retirement. Request your Wealth Creator Toolbox now by texting the word toolbox to 800-454-1184. That's toolbox to 800-454-1184.
Hi, I'm Lou Ann Fulmer here with Eric Heckman. He's president of Heckman Financial. He's also the author of the book Worry Less Wealth, which is something that you can get complimentary. All you have to do is just text the word toolbox to our number 800-454-1184. You can get that book and a bunch of other educational materials. Very helpful for your retirement. So, all right, Eric, we are going to bring you some retiree questions again, okay? And then I'm going to do a lightning round of questions for you to just think fast personally. And we're going to kind of get to know you a little more with some fun little questions I'm going to ask you. But first, I want to start with a retiree question. And this first one is, and I know you do get this all the time, how do I figure out how much I'll have to pay in taxes in retirement?
It's easy. It's a lot. No, just kidding.
Well, it could be. It could
So with a personalized income plan, and at least with our software, we actually do look at not just your taxes year by year, but we look at your lifetime taxes, which is a scary number, by the way, and kind of depressing. But once we look at that number and we say, okay, if we make some changes here, does that number go down, right? And if that number goes down, that's a good thing because obviously more money in your pocket is a lot better than more money in Uncle Sam's pocket. So that's one of the things that you really need to be doing. If your financial advisor is not helping estimate and lower your lifetime taxes, I think you're really missing the boat. And I find most tax people don't do that either. So it is a critical thing because it's one of the biggest levers, between spending and taxes are probably the two biggest effects on your retirement. How much money you make is probably third or fourth.
Wow. Huh.
So
interesting. Yep. Okay. And in that toolbox is that blueprint to your retirement. And that's where you talk about, tax strategies in retirement. All right. Here is another question for you and kind of along what you just said. How do I know if I've saved enough for retirement? It maybe isn't top on the list, but I bet you get that question a lot.
No, that's a pretty big one. And it's kind of piggybacks on, will my money last as long as I do, right? That's kind of the two sides of the same issue. And so, yeah, it's really the only way is having a personalized income plan, one that's designed for your specific situation. So knowing first and foremost the real number, how much you spend. So again, do that no BS budget, take those last 12 months of bank statements, divide by 12, all the withdrawals, and that's the real number of what you spent. And I probably guarantee you it's 20 to 40% higher than you think. And sometimes a little shocking. But once you know that number, then you can look at your assets and say, okay, if I'm living off that much money with inflation, taxes, everything calculated, will it last as long as I do? If it runs out when you're 75 versus 95, well, those are obviously very different situations. And yeah, you kind of need to do a lot more planning or change some things if it's running out 75. 95, probably okay. But yeah, that's one of the critical pieces of the planning for retirement is really having and knowing what that personalized income plan is going to be, because then you know how much you can spend. And if you start spending too much, you also know you're spending too much, which you need to know way sooner than later.
Right. I love how you come alongside people. You can kind of be their guardrail and also give them that clarity, almost. Yeah.
And sometimes have to not yell at them in a nice way, but just but just kind of like a coach, right? Say, yeah, you're spending way too much money. So
yeah, reel it in. Yep. Back it up. All right. Here's another retiree question, and I think this is a good one. What are some of my options for income in retirement? Talk about that.
Yeah, well, most of us don't have a pension anymore. So the only kind of lifetime income we pretty much get is Social Security, which, we know there's issues there too. Something will always be there, but it might be reduced at some point. And so, yeah, now it's back to you, right? It's all on you. It's not, your company's not going to take care of you. Nobody else is going to take care of you. And likely your kids might not even take care of you, right? So yeah, well, how are you going to do that? And so there are some great products out there, what I call foundational income type monies, where the principal is guaranteed, but it can pay you, some good withdrawals, or even pay you a guaranteed income stream for life, and setting up your own kind of pension, your own kind of, Social Security, but my security or whatever you want to call it. Right. That's, I think, critical nowadays, because you need to have that money. You need to have some money that is going to be there year in, year out, and without fail, and without market volatility and all the other craziness stuff that you have to, go through.
Okay, and then a real quick one here, and we don't know enough about this, I don't think, all of us. What do I do with my 401k after I retire?
Yeah, well, typically you want to roll that to an IRA, individual retirement account, and kind of combine all your accounts into that format. And then from there, that's where you're going to start figuring out how much can I take out, maybe doing some tax planning. Should I be doing some Roth conversions along the way? Again, that's one of those pieces of the puzzle of how am I going to live for the rest of my life with this money. So that could be money that you move into some of these foundational assets. So, the hard part about this is it's always one answer, and it's the answer that, well, I guess it is a 4-letter word, called plan.
Yeah,
right? You need to have a plan. And, nobody likes that. It's a lot more fun to spend, a lot more fun to do vacation plans than it is to do a financial plan. Mm-hmm. But if you get that financial plan right, you can probably get a lot more vacations. So, take the time out and really take care of yourself. So, one of the things with the blueprint to worry less wealth, that's what we do, is we first and foremost go through, after we had that first discovery call that we do with you, the worry less wealth call. We set up another time to say, okay, well, where is your income plan? Well, let's look at where you're headed. Let's look at where your investments are. Are they positioned to give you that income? What's the tax ramifications? What's the healthcare issues along the way? And then, of course, legacy. Who gets your money when you're gone? So those are the 5 areas that everybody really needs to have a plan for. And, that's what we do when we sit down and talk with somebody. So, again, if you want to set up that time to do that, we've got a link inside our digital toolbox to do that. We also have a lot of other great information. Will my money last as long as I do? The Social Security decision. So lots of great stuff. All you have to do to get access to all that is just text the word toolbox to 800-454-1184. Again, text the word toolbox, 800-454-1184, or download directly at wealthcreatorradio.com.
All right. And this is Wealth Creator Radio with Eric Heckman. We're going to take a few minutes now and do a little lightning round for Eric. Ask him a bunch of questions, get to know him a little more. So we're going to go 2 minutes, Eric. Okay. And I am going to start the timer now. And here's my first question. What is your biggest industry frustration?
Probably financial advisors who don't do taxes, and then tax people who don't do financial stuff.
Aha.
Those two need to be combined.
Right. Okay. Favorite TV show of all time?
Of all time?
I guess.
That's a tougher one.
I know.
I don't know. I used to watch MASH a lot as a kid.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I guess I could throw that one in.
MASH. Love it. Do you have a favorite color?
Just like our logo, green.
I love it. Green. And color you wear the most? Same thing?
No, oddly enough. Green's a little tougher sometimes to pull off. So
yeah. What do you wear
I
the
don't
most?
know. Probably I always have a suit on, so either black or blue.
Black. Oh, nice. Okay. And then how many pets do you guys have?
Just one dog. He's really old, but
what's his name?
He still moves. Jax.
Oh, what kind?
He was a rescue dog, so
Aw.
Lhasa Poo or something like that.
Oh, cute. Love that. What is your go-to late night snack?
Try never to do that anymore.
Ooh,
So don't try to eat after 8 or 9.
Okay.
So
Good job.
although sometimes I'll have frozen bananas. Those are a good healthy snack.
Get you. Okay. First job.
Well, my first illegal job was painting houses at 14 for a painting contractor. Got money under the table, but my first official job was working at what was Raging Waters, and now it's called Calibunga. But it was a water park.
Oh, fun. Okay. Favorite sports team.
Sadly, the San Jose Sharks, but
Aw.
we'll see if
Sharks.
that improves.
Okay. Last one. Financial advice you would hope your kids never forget.
Probably pay yourself first. You'll never end up having extra money, so you got to pay yourself first, because the extra money never shows up. So if you wait till I have extra money, it ain't gonna happen. So yeah, no, I mean, and that's why we've set up again all these great downloads in our digital toolbox. So again, if you want to get access to that link and get access to some of these, they're about 10 to 15 pages. They're really great information, pretty jargon free, pretty quick reads. So all you have to do is text the word toolbox, 800-454-1184. Again, text the word toolbox, 800-454-1184, or download directly at wealthcreatorradio.com.
And Eric will be right back with the rest of our show.
If something's worth doing, it's worth doing right. There's a particular time of life this phrase couldn't be more appropriate. How can you know you'll live the retirement you've always imagined? After all, life can be so unpredictable. You've worked hard and saved. Watch your accounts go up and down with the market. Your advisor says, don't worry, you'll be fine. But you still don't feel confident. Eric Heckman at Heckman Financial has a checklist to help you find out if you're on the right track for retirement. If you can check all the boxes with confidence, you may be ready for retirement. If not, Eric can help you address any potential costly mistakes. To get Eric Heckman at Heckman Financial's complimentary checklist, call or text LIST to 800-454-1184. Call or text LIST to 800-454-1184. Firm offers insurance services. Investment advisory services offered through Heckman Financial and Insurance Services, Inc. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
Hi, I'm Lou Ann Fulmer here with Eric Heckman. And every week on our show, Eric and I often discuss challenges and risks that exist in retirement. And right now, this part, Eric's going to give us an example of, what someone has done and experienced a retirement obstacle, kind of, telling us things maybe we should not do. So, all right, Eric, tell us about this financial fail.
Yeah, I mean, this one's a little bit more general, I guess, is really just all the bubbles that we've seen come and go. I've seen a lot of clients or a lot of people I met with that weren't clients of mine more often than not, where they had a ton of money. Sometimes they just got lucky. They just happened to buy the right stock, and it went from, I just met with somebody who went from $1 million to 1.3 million. And the time he finally started selling some off. But I've met with somebody that had it shot up and then went right back down. And so, one of the things is lots of times people ask, well, why do bubbles happen? Why did people, why were people like not smart about what happened and such? Well, how could they have made those decisions? Blah, blah, blah. Right. But really what happens is all these bubbles that happen over the time. So if you talk about the .com, if you talk about, the real estate meltdown, all these different things that's happened is we all think that we're all playing the same game when we're buying a stock. When we think we're all buying it for the long term. But what happens is as the stock gets hotter and hotter and hotter, more and more people buy it for short-term gain. And so what happens is once all those short-term people get to be a bigger number than all the long-term people think it's great because look how many people are buying it, but they're not buying it for a long time. They're buying it for maybe a day, maybe a week, maybe a month. And so you think it's, even though it looks overvalued, you say, oh, well, all these other people are buying it, so it must still be good. And that is totally incorrect. So that, that's one of the things where you kind of go, okay, well, how can you fix these, right? How can you do some stuff to prevent that? And the simplest thing that I've told people for the last 30 years is just put, limit orders on things. So I've got a lot of clients that, work at Apple, work at Google, some of these places that, have done fantastic over time. Now you don't want to just dump and run. I mean, I just met with somebody who been at Google for about 20 years, but he would always sell the stock right away. Well, some of his coworkers have a couple million more than he has because of, or several, because they held on to it. And, a lot of times you do want to sell, but how do you have that, middle area, right? And so one of the simple things is just have a stop loss where it says, okay, if it drops so much at a certain number, it'll sell. And then also have a limit order. When it goes up so high, it'll sell. It doesn't have to be all the shares, just, some part of it. So as long as you keep making it real, I've got one client that's been at Apple and we've been doing it for the last couple of years and he's getting close to about $300,000 a year that he'll be getting in retirement just from all the places we've moved his money over these years. So he's almost to the point where he doesn't care what Apple stock does. And once you have that freedom, you can be retired and enjoying life. So, again, what first thing starts with education. So we've got a lot of great educational resources set up at our digital toolbox. All you have to do is text the word toolbox to 800-454-1184. Again, text the word toolbox, 800-454-1184. You've been listening to Wealth Creator Radio. I'm Eric Heckman, and we'll be back next week. So again, if you need a set time or you want to talk, 800-454-1184 or online at wealthcreatorradio.com.
Information provided during Wealth Creator Radio is for illustrative purposes only and does not constitute investment, tax, or legal advice. Information has been obtained from sources that are deemed to be reliable, but their accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed. Always consult with a qualified investment, legal, or tax professional before taking any action. Annuity guarantees are based solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing company. Individuals should thoroughly review the contract for specific details of the product features and costs. Income payments and withdrawals from deferred annuities are generally taxable as ordinary income in the year they are taken. Eric Heckman offers investment advisory services through Heckman Financial and Insurance Services, Inc., a registered investment advisor. Any tax advice given as part of this presentation is not intended to be used and cannot be used by the taxpayer for the purpose of avoiding tax penalties or promoting, marketing, or recommending to another party any matter or transaction addressed herein. The views and opinions expressed in the program are not necessarily those of the radio station or its sponsors, and they should not construe as legal, tax, or investment advice. You should always consult the appropriate advisor before making any financial decision.